Hi, my name is Annie, and welcome to the Walking Word, where we go through the Holy Bible in a year as part of discipling. We are currently reading from the book of First Samuel, and we are in chapter 20. And David is here consulting with Jonathan. David fled from the sheds of Ramah and went to Jonathan. "What have I done?" he asked. What crime or what offense does your father hold against me that he seeks my life?" Jonathan answered me, "Heaven forbid that you should die. My father does nothing great or small without disclosing it to me. Why then should my father conceal this from me? This cannot be so." But David replied, "Your father is well aware that I am favored with your friendship. So he has decided Jonathan must not know of this lest he be grieved. Nevertheless, as the Lord lives and as you live, there is but a step between me and death." Jonathan then said to David, "I will do whatever you wish." David answered, "Tomorrow is the new moon, which I should in fact dine with the king. Let me go and hide in the open country until evening. If it turns out that your father misses me, say, 'David urged me to let him go on short notice to his city in Bethlehem, because his whole clan is holding its seasonal sacrifice there.' If he says, 'Very well, your servant is safe,' but if he becomes quite angry, you can be sure he has planned some harm. Do this kindness for your servant because of the Lord's bond between us, into which you brought me, into which you're the one who brought us into this bond. If I am guilty, kill me yourself." So David is telling Jonathan, "Man, if I am guilty of anything I've done to your dad, you be the one to kill me. Why should you give me up to your father?" But Jonathan answered, Not I. If ever I find out that my father is determined to inflict injury upon you, I will certainly let you know." David then asked Jonathan, "Who will tell me if your father gives you a harsh answer?" Jonathan replied to David, "Come, let us go out into the field." When they were out in the open country together, Jonathan said to David, "As the Lord, the God of Israel, lives, I will sound out my father about this time tomorrow. Whether he is well disposed toward David or not, I will send you the information. Should it please my father to bring any injury upon you, may the Lord do thus and so to Jonathan, if I do not apprise you of it and send you on your way in peace. May the Lord be with you, even as he was with my father. Only this, if I am still alive, may you show me kindness of the Lord. But if I die, never withdraw your kindness from my house." We will see later how David actually honors this vow that he and Jonathan made, that he never withdrew kindness from the house um, of Jonathan by bringing in his son Mephibosheth. But we'll see that later on in scripture, after Jonathan dies. "And when the Lord exterminates all the enemies of David from the surface of the earth, the name of Jonathan must never be allowed by the family of David to die from among you, or the Lord will make you answer for it." And in his love for David, Jonathan renewed his oath to him because he loved him as his very self. Okay, so this is a deep friendship. Jonathan then said to him, "Tomorrow is the new moon, and you will be missed, since your place will be vacant. On the following day, you will be missed all the more. Go to the spot where you hid on the occasion and wait near the mound there." So go hide. That place where you are hiding, just go hide there near the mound. I'll come and give you feedback. "On the third day of the month, I will shoot arrows as though aiming at a target. I will then send my attendant to go and recover the arrows. If in fact I say to him, 'Look, the arrow is this side of you. Pick it up, come for you. Pick it up, come for you are safe.' But if I say to the boy, 'Look, the arrow is beyond you. Go, for the Lord sends you away.' However, in the matter which you and I have discussed, the Lord shall be between you and me forever." So David hid in the open country. So there's a spot okay, you go hide there. If I send an arrow and say, all's good, that's all's good. If I say, man, the arrow is coming at you, then you know what exactly I'm saying. So David hid in the open country. On the day of the new moon, when the king sat at the table to dine, taking his usual place against the wall, Jonathan sat facing him, while Abner sat at the king's side, and David's place was vacant. Saul, however, said nothing that day, for he thought he must become unclean by accident, and not yet have been cleansed. Saul, however, said nothing that day, for he thought he must have become unclean by accident and not yet have been cleansed. On the next day, the second day of the month, David's place was vacant again. So now Saul inquired of his son Jonathan, "Why has the son of Jesse not come to the table yesterday or today?" Jonathan answered, "Oh, David urgently asked me to let him go to his city Bethlehem. Please let me go," he begged, "for we are to have a clan sacrifice in our city, and my brothers insist on my presence. Now, therefore, if you think well of me, give me leave to visit my brothers." That is why he has not come to the king's table. But Saul was extremely angry with Jonathan and said to him, "Son of a rebellious woman," basically insulting Jonathan's mother, his wife. "Son of a rebellious woman, do I not know that to your own shame and to the disclosure of your mother's shame, you are the companion of Jesse's son? Why, as long as the son of Jesse lives upon the earth, you cannot make good your claim to the kingship? Why can't you just choose the king's side? Why are you not claiming kingship? You're just letting David rule over you? Psh. So send for him and bring him to me, for he is doomed." But Jonathan asked his father Saul, why should he die? What has he done?" At this, Saul brandished his spear to strike him, and thus Jonathan learned that his father was resolved to kill David. Now Saul is throwing his spear at his own son. Like, the guy just went and lost his mind totally. Jonathan sprang up from the table in great anger and took no food that second day of the month, for he was grieved on David's account, since his father had railed against him. The next morning, Jonathan went out to the field with a little boy for his appointment with David. There he said to the boy, "Run and fetch the arrow." And as the boy ran, he shot an arrow beyond him in the direction of the city. When the boy made for the spot where Jonathan had shot the arrow, Jonathan called after him, "The arrow is farther on." Again he called to his lad, "Hurry, be quick, do not delay." Jonathan's boy picked up the arrow and brought it to his master. The boy knew nothing. The boy didn't know that there's someone hiding behind that bush, that thing, that open country space. The boy knew nothing, only that Jonathan and David knew what it meant. Then Jonathan gave his weapons to this boy of his and said to him, "Go, take them to the city." When the boy had left, David rose from beside the mound and prostrated himself on the ground 3 times before Jonathan in homage. So they are distant from each other, but David lays down, prostrate, and just in homage, in giving thanks. They kissed each other and wept aloud together. I mean, this is a friendship that's just being torn apart. At length, Jonathan said to David, "Go in peace, in keeping with what we two have sworn by the name of the Lord. The Lord shall be between you and me, and between your prosperity and mine forever." Chapter 21, we look at David as a fugitive.